Sandhan. All Gujarat Integrated Classroom.
સેટેલાઇટના માધ્યમથી જોડતી કડી એટલે સંધાન.
Vande Gujarat.
Hello friends, colleagues and all my dear students. Now once again we meet today with a new topic, and till now we have seen the poems, but today let's go into a story which is prescribed in Sem 5 in paper 304 in English main, and the name of that story is 8 rupees. Now my dear students, the writer of this story is Muralidas Melwani, and he is very much an Indo-Anglian writer, as this paper suggests, because this paper is on Indo-Anglian literature. So we come across a short story writer who has gone deeply into the psychology of a 16-year-old boy. Now in the beginning, as we do, let's have an introduction with the story writer. Now, Muralidas Melwani, he is an eminent short story writer, and apart from being a short story writer, he has experimented with a lot of forms, and after these experiments, he has set a trend in the field of Indo-Anglian story, and his themes, his themes are basically the common themes, and there is nothing special about them, but the way in which he treats the themes and the way in which he proceeds, that is a marvelous treatment. Now he has exploited new areas, and he has come out with those experiences which are otherwise common looking, but which penetrate in the hearts of his readers. So all these stories, they are basically philosophical in treatment. They are also multi-layered stories, and we can call them political satires, we can call them lyrical themes stories, and we can also address them as the stories of human experience. Now here in this story also, the short story writer, he makes a brilliant use of his creativity, and when the story begins, we are not very much sure that what will happen, and there is a kind of suspense which prevails throughout the story. Now here the story begins on a very humble and common note, and initially in the beginning we come across a boy. He is clad in rags, rather, and his appearance is that of a poor boy. Now he appears to be a 16 years old boy, and this story is set on such a note where 16-year-old boys, a poor boy, he becomes the main character, because when the age 16 comes before our eyes, then in our imagination a picture comes that this must be a romantic story, but actually saying there is no romance in that, but actually there is poverty here, there is depression, there is humiliation, there is everything which is not fair. And we come across such a poor and downtrodden character. This boy, he is 16 and he does the work of boot polish. Now he has, whether he has chosen this profession, this avocation himself, or the conditions have made him to accept this avocation, that is not sure. But one thing is sure, that he is a helpless and hapless creature who has been thrown on the bitter, painful life, and this life is that of thorns and not that of roses. Now here, when the story starts, this boy is seen to be climbing the upstairs of a multi-storied building, and this building is such a has so many stories, that this boy gets tired, as he is poor and he doesn't have much to eat. So it appears as if he has got tired, and in a tired mood he is climbing the stairs of this multi-story building. The story writer also mentions the time in which this short story sets itself, and this is nearly the office time, when the hustling and bustling of people start in that mansion, in that multi-story building, and it is the time of 9 o'clock in the morning, or we can call it 9 a.m. sharp. Now this boy, what about his appearance? He is thin, he is small, he is fragile, and he is not a normal looking child. He is not properly dressed up, and as the poor fellow, he doesn't have much clothes to attire himself. Now the story writers, he says that this boy has worn a tattered shirt. This shirt, it seems, he has not purchased from the market because he doesn't have money, but it appears as if somebody has given this shirt to him, and it also appears as if this shirt has exchanged many hands before reaching this poor boy. So finally, when he wears it, it is totally in tatters, and it is a tattered shirt, and on the lower side he wears not a pant but a short, and in his short 2 brushes and 1 boot polish. He has pushed these articles in the pockets of this short, and as a result of this, the pocket of his shorts, it has bulged out. So from outer scene, we cannot see what is there, but the brushes are long and the pocket is small. So these two brushes, they hardly find a space in the pockets of his shorts. Now the shorts are dirty, the shirt is tattered, and that boy, the 16-year-old boy, hardly has he hardly has mustaches because he is yet in his teens, and he makes his way to one of the top floors of that multi-storied building. Now he climbs the stairs, and when he reaches the one of the top floors, he comes across a, a chamber or a cabin which has got an impressive and attractive nameplate. And it appears that this cabin or this chamber is owned by a rich and sincere fellow. So the boy, he this nameplate, it catches the attention of this boy, and he sits just in front of this cabin or chamber. Now there is no chair as such, and he sits on the floor, and he starts waiting for someone to come out of that chamber. He watches patiently, and after 10 to 15 minutes nearly, a gentle looking fellow, he comes out of this chamber, and when he sees this well dressed man coming out of this chamber, his patience is broken, and he leaps. He moves fast to meet that fellow. Now he puts his case that I'm so and so, and I does this avocation of boot polish. I'm a poor boy. Please take pity on me, and please give me a chance to serve. And I polish your boots in such a good manner that you'll become happy, and people will appreciate my polish. So in this lovely and appeasing voice, he tries to convince this fellow who has come out of this attractive chamber. Now this incident becomes nearly half an hour. So he has waited patiently for half an hour, and when this moment comes, he feels happy that at last his labor is not lost, because he has sat there for a long while, and his waiting has not gone in vain. Now he comes out, and then he takes out two brushes from his pockets and one boot polish, and then he, in every kind of humble word, he tries to appease that gentleman, that well dressed man who has come out of this chamber. But his words don't find a place, and this gentleman is not at all impressed by the talking of this fellow, this boot polish boy. Now this boy starts getting frustrated, because that man, who appears to be a nice fellow, who appears to be a good fellow, a helpful personality, he doesn't give way to his request. And the well-dressed man is not in a mood to take the services of this boy. So this boy becomes quite frustrated and he is disappointed by this gesture of this fellow. Now, after the man has declined the boy's request and the boy has become disappointed, so he offers to polish the boots of this man in half price, and he says that I will only charge half of my rate, but please, for God's sake, you take pity on me and give me a chance to serve you, because since morning I have not been able to earn even a single penny, and I am a poor boy. I got 3 sisters, I got my old mother, and all these persons, all my family members, they totally rely on my income. If I don't earn much or if I don't earn sufficient, then all my family members will have to sleep hungry. So for God's sake, please take pity on me, and whatever charge you wish to give me, I'll accept, but please give me a chance to serve you. So in different kind of manners and different taking the help of different kind of words and pleadings, he tries to convince that gentleman. But that gentleman is not in a mood to yield, and he says that my boots are okay, and my boot do not require polishing. But then God knows what happens, and he yields before the pathetic request of this boy, and he is overcome by the tale of trials and tribulations which this boy narrates before him. This boy deeply tells about his family conditions, his plight, and he says that he is the only earning member in the family. He doesn't have any brother to support, he doesn't have any father, and since his birth he has been suffering a lot in order to make his family take their meals. So this gentleman finally yields, and he says, okay, no problem, you can polish my boots. So this boy starts polishing the boots, and while polishing the boot, he does not stop talking. He keeps on talking about the difficulties, the different kind of tribulations and trials which he has to face daily, and which he has to undergo daily. So the man is moved by his talks, and finally the polish session ends. Now the boy has finished his work, and meanwhile he has narrated his story or his life story in detail, nearly chewing every word and discussing different aspects of his life. Now, that gentleman, he asks he means this boy, that how much should I pay you? Because what you charge your rate, you charge according to your rate. I don't want to give you less. So since he's a gentleman, and this boy, he has got this sharp wit and sharp intelligence, and he can just make out in his mind that here stands such a gentleman who will not deny him his share. So when that gentleman asks him that how much should I pay you according to your rate, and he says that don't charge half. You have done the full work. You have done the work wholeheartedly, and this is your right to get the payment. Then why should you charge half from me or from anybody else? But the boy says that now this is my compulsion, since I don't get work regularly and I have to feed my family members. So whatever I get, I accept. So in this manner, at least my family can eat one day meal, if not 2 days meal, if not 2 times meal. At least if we can get one time meal by that grace of God, this will be this should be enough. So in case you wish, you can pay me the half, or in case you are kind enough, and if you really desire, then you pay me full. And he tells about his charges, what are the charges apply. Now this boy with a poor face, actually he's a poor fellow, but till then he's talking about his poverty and all these things, his trials and tribulations. Now when this gentleman has come in a mood to pay him, this boy hesitatingly tells that well-dressed man that please would you be kind enough to lend me 8 rupees only, because this story has the title 8 rupees, and here we come across this word for the first time. And the writer Murlidas Melwani, he brings this term for the first time, and he puts these words in the mouth of this poor boy who has taken this avocation of boot polishing, and he says to this well-dressed man that you please lend me 8 rupees, and I promise to repay you at the earliest, because I am helpless and helpless and I need this money urgently. So if you don't mind, would you be kind enough to please lend me 8 rupees? Now this well-dressed man, who is basically good at heart and who takes everything for granted, he believes the words of this boot polish boy, and he says, why not? I would be happy to help you. Now in case you need 8 rupees, So let me help you. And while saying this man, he draws his purse from his pocket and takes out a 10 rupee note, and he wishes to give it this 10 rupee note to this poor boy. But the boy said, no, I need only 8 rupees. You are giving me 10 rupees, and this would be hard to repay this much amount to you. So please don't give me 10 rupees. I got a work which needs the payment of 8 rupees only, and so you lend me only 8 rupees. Now this well-dressed man, he becomes he gets surprised that how much honest this Polish boy is, because he thinks in this manner that if this boy had not been honest fellow, then he would have accepted 10 rupees. Because what difference does it make if he takes 8 rupees or 10 rupees? So he thinks in his mind that surely this boy is a very honest fellow, and he has become a victim of his circumstances, which anybody can become in their life, and he needs this money. He needs these 8 rupees very urgently. So if I do this favor to him, naturally he will feel happy, and my soul will also feel happy. So he says, no problem, you take these 10 rupees, don't worry about the repayment. Whenever you have, you repay, and it doesn't make a sense, if you become too late in repaying me, then also no problem. But this boy is adamant that you please lend me only 8 rupees. So this man, well-dressed man, this gentleman, he doesn't have any other option rather than to pay 8 rupees to him, and he takes out 1 rupee coins. He takes out 8 1 rupee coins from his pocket and gives it happily to this boy, that you take these coins, you take these 8 rupees, and I am giving you very happily, and you don't worry about repaying. So whenever you have got this money, this is my office, and you come here and you can repay me. Even otherwise you need not worry, and you lead a normal life. In case you come across any other problem, then don't hesitate in telling me, because this well-dressed man, he starts appreciating the honesty of this poor boy. Now this boy accepts these 8 rupees humbly, and to reinforce his honesty, he says that, sir, what about my charge? So the well-dressed man, he asks, how much is your charge? So this boy says that my charge is 25 paisa only, and you give me this 25 paisa also. So this well-dressed man, he has never come across such a honest 16-year-old boy who is very particular in all these things, because he says that I won't accept 10 rupees. Now he is saying that you please pay me only 25 paisa and not 50 paisa. My charge is 50 paisa, but I have promised you to charge only half. So you pay me only 25 paisa. So very gladly this gentleman, he pays 25 paisa, and this creates a good impression on him. Now he is totally overpowered. Will use this word. He is totally overpowered by the honesty of this otherwise poor fellow, who doesn't have anything to wear, and he is clad in a tattered shirt, in dirty shorts. He doesn't have enough to eat. He has got lot of responsibilities, family responsibilities are there, and he is so much honest that he will accept only 8 rupees and not even 10 rupees. And then to add some flavor to his story, this boy, he says that please give me the money of my labor also, and this is only 25 rupees. Now this man, he gives the money to him, and so the story moves ahead now. And when the story proceeds ahead, the boy holds the notes, and these notes are 1 coin rupees, and there are 8 rupees, and he looks very happy. This boy, he looked happy, and he can just he comes to this conclusion. He is happy to note that really today it's an auspicious day for me, because I have got my target complete, and this target is, it has brought 64 rupees to me. Now when the story writer makes this statement in the story that today is the auspicious day, and today this boy feels happy because he has earned 64 rupees. So at once we cannot understand this mathematics, that he has asked this well-dressed man that please lend me 8 rupees, and how this figure comes, how this figure of 64 comes. But then when the story proceeds, and the boy, he feels happy that today I have got 8 clients, and from each I have received 8 rupees. So in total I have earned 64 rupees today, because 8 into 8 is 64. So the mystic figure of 8, he has got 8 peoples today, 8 such people who believed in his story, and they trusted on this boy. Now, and from each person, this boy demanded only 8 rupees, and he narrated this story of his trials and tribulations to these 8 persons. Now, as a reader of this short story, first we cannot make out that what is going on, and then we have to apply some mind, because this is something uncommon, and then because we are also under this impression that this poor boy, he is simply asking for 8 rupees, and as that well dressed man and the other persons of of his category, as they believe that this boy is although poor, but he is a nice fellow, and he has fallen a prey to his circumstances. So they they try to help this 16-year-old boy, and out of that pity which they show towards him, so as readers, we are also of the same temperament. We are also under that kind of impression that when this boy feels happy and he counts that today is an auspicious day for me, because I have been able to earn 64 rupees. I have at least found 8 persons who have believed my story, and then an abrupt turn comes, and we come to know that this boy is not a simple boy, that this boy is although poor, but he is a cheat. This boy cheats people under the disguise of his poverty, and this boy is actually a posier, one who poses, and he poses as if he has got lot of liabilities. He narrates his tale about his family conditions, the poverty which he has to face, the miseries, the trials, the tribulations of his life, and in this small age also he is not able to study, he is not able to go to school and college, and he doesn't have any father, he doesn't have any helping brother. On the other hand, he has got his liability of 3 sisters, he has to get them married, he has got an old mother, and he has to run the expenses of this house. So this whole story is fabricated. This whole story, it's not a true story, because whatever he gets little through his boot polish, he gets many times more than that through this story. And in this sense, this boy is a posier, and actually he exploits his poverty to serve his malefied motive. Now, his motive is to earn money, and this motive is malefied because he tries to achieve his motive not through the noble means, but through these means of cheating. But he cheats the so-called otherwise good persons in the disguise of a hard working fellow, and he fabricates his story, and he is such a good narrator. He tells his story in such a nice manner, in such an emotional manner, with so much touching scenes, that even the otherwise educated and good persons, they come under the impression of his fake story, and they give that amount very happily. Now, if we look at this amount, it's not a very big amount, because 8 rupees is such a less amount which doesn't create any kind of problem. Because if he asks 50 rupees or 100 rupees, now that would seem a great amount, because a person may not give 50 rupees or 100 rupees to an unknown fellow. But this boy gives this impression that I basically earn through my hard work, and whatever work little or more I get, this is not sufficient to run my house. And he shows his helplessness. He presents his story in such painful words, with shedding tears, that any good fellow, he starts believing his story. And when that fellow is cheated, he doesn't know that he has been cheated. This is a kind of cheating only, because we cannot say it other thing. But this novel cheating, because there are many methods of cheating. Just as we know that there are thieves and dacoits also. Now thieves, they enter in the dark of the night. Dacoits, at some places, they come even in the day, but they come with their weapons. They've got everything with them. So they are there. But when we come across such kind of novel cheaters, we cannot believe that this kind of cheating also takes place. Now this short story writer, Muralidas Milvani, he presents this story in such a lucid manner that we come across such a situation in which the story becomes very interesting initially, and as the story keeps on going ahead, we are under this impression that this boy is really poor, and we also identify ourselves with this boy, and such a kind of feeling develops in our hearts that something should be done for this boy. And this boy is very smart. He is such a small cheat that he exploits his poverty to cheat even the otherwise intelligent fellows in a noble manner. Why I call it noble? Because the fellow who gets cheated, even he is not sure of his cheating. This well-dressed man, when he is ready to give 10 rupees to this boy, and this boy is adamant that I will take only 8 rupees. Now, such a kind of atmosphere is created that this fellow, and like other fellows also, because in all there are 8 fellows who have been cheated today only, on the day of this story. But this process of cheating, it keeps on going for a number of days. And this is the daily practice of this Polish boy. And he narrates his poverty tale in such humble words, in such pathetic words, that the men who come across, they start believing his story totally and very happily. After getting convinced totally, their hand enters their pockets, and when this money is given to this boy, that man is also feeling happy, and this boy who is cheating is also feeling happy. So this is such a psychological story where both the characters, the man who is being cheated by this boy and the boy who is cheating the man, both are feeling happy, because nobody is unhappy here. Even that man, when this boy says that I will return this amount as soon as possible, now this man says that you carry out your work. If you are not able to repay it, no problem, you have it, because your honesty is appreciable. So this story is embedded with such kind of threats, where this situation becomes quite uncommon, because mostly when somebody is cheated, when he or she feels that I have been cheated in this manner, a kind of such feeling comes that now onwards I won't believe anybody on this earth, because I have been duped, I have been cheated. But this 16-year-old boy, he has discovered such a noble way of cheating that he gets his desired amount, and the persons who are being cheated, they also give very happily. So he doesn't appear as a beggar also. He doesn't appear as a beggar, and he doesn't appear to be a cheat also. But his impression is that of a young fellow in his teens who is helpless in his life, and he has to carry out the mighty task of bringing his family members. Now, this boy is a symbol. When we conclude, let's conclude this story. This boy is basically a symbol who exploit his poverty to serve his malefied motive. And in real life also, we come across so many persons of this nature, that even when they go at the top, even when they get good position in life, they get good post, and they keep on narrating those tales of their poverty, their helplessness, and in this manner they try to convince people that please take pity on us and please help us, please give us whatever we want. So here this boy stands as a symbol of a cheat, but a sophisticated cheat, and the manner in which he cheats, that manner appears very convincing. So we conclude with this statement that this boy is such a symbol of all those real characters in life which are not more than a beggar, but they are sophisticated beggars, and they try to beg power, money, post, etc., all the things under the disguise of their helplessness. Be it may be their poverty, it may be their bad condition, and actually this is the condition not so, but all these stories, they are framed stories. So we conclude this story on this note, that this story is an exceptional story, and we must thank Muralidas Melwani that he has succeeded as a short story writer in giving us this beautiful story. Now, Mr. Melwani, he has not written much, but whatever he has written, it's very convincing, and his position in the field of Indo-Anglian short story writers, he has become the position has become permanent, because a writer is not judged by the volumes in which he has written, but he is judged by the effect which he produces on his readers. And Muralidas Melwani, he has created such a tremendous effect on the readers that he has emerged as a good and exceptional short story writer. Now, in this context, I would also say that although this is a short story, but it can be played also. And as far as I think, a few institutions, they have played this story in the form of a drama also. So our students, they can be given this chance to play this short story. So with these words, I conclude my lecture, and definitely I am hopeful that you might have enjoyed this session. Now, this story can have different notes also, psychological, social, economic, and it has got many platforms. So finally, this is a nice and interesting story. Thank you very much.
Sandhan, All Gujarat Integrated Classroom.
સેટેલાઇટના માધ્યમથી જોડતી કડી એટલે સંધાન.
Vande Gujarat.